What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, John Linares.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 100. We are here. Been a little bit over 2 years, so we celebrated the 2 year anniversary, and now we're finally at episode 100. Missed last week. We really were in the lab on this, deciding what to do. We had brackets out there, but if brackets just didn't feel right, so obviously
Mm-mm.
you see the title. Quick intro, a little quick. 2 weeks. That's a long time we've been without you guys. Look at my wall. If you're watching on YouTube, expanded a little bit. We're up to 40 vinyls on the wall, so big dubs there. Why don't you give the folks a Range Brothers update? So I'm not a Range Brother today.
Yeah, EV out for the final game of the regular season. Range Brothers franchise record-setting win last week. We had a doubleheader, got our third win of the season, so we're 3-3, going in the seventh game of the regular season. So, would love to get one more win, really set that record even uh, further, and get that momentum going in the playoffs. In the playoffs, we're gonna be without a couple guys, so might not go the way we want it to go, but it's been, statistically the best Range Brothers season we've ever had. So appreciate everybody that's showing love. Elijah had an Instagram post the other day with some highlights, some photos
Yeah,
out of context. You guys loved it. I posted a clip. You guys loved that. So appreciate the Range Brothers love. Um, Updates to come next week about our mindset going in the playoffs, and then the following week about, you know, hopefully we're going to the championship, I guess.
yeah. I hope so. This is my last dance last season, so hopefully we have our first playoff win, shit like that. So
Yeah, we'll see. But I'll give my thank you. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. 100 episodes. 100 episodes, just over 2 years. We've only missed a couple weeks. We're really not doing two. We missed last week, so that's a bad look. But here we are, episode 100. What a ride. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed some of these episodes along the way. If you've tuned into all of them, appreciate you. It's been a great ride. Um, we got big things coming. It's just a start. We keep saying that. We keep saying that. But we got some, future guests, future ideas. Things are looking good. Like Elijah said, it was supposed to be March Madness brackets. That was, kind of my idea, both our ideas. I don't know, but had to pivot. Episode 100, we had to come
yeah.
right with something real special. Kind of giving a throwback to episode one, where we did our top five artists of all time. Today, we're doing our top five songs of all time. This was borderline impossible to think about.
Yeah.
My list, we say this about every list, it wouldn't be the same in 3 months. It wouldn't be the same in a day. Mine wouldn't be the same in, I don't think, 10 minutes. Like, you're catching me right now, Sunday, March 10th at 11:40 a.m. This is my list. This is my five. I'll be honest again. I think I did this a couple episodes back. I don't have my fifth one. My fifth one's gonna just come to me. It's whatever I'm feeling. I have four locked in. I had like a list. At one point, I made a playlist and it was gonna be my top 100 favorite songs of all time. And I was gonna add to it, add to it, add to it. It got to like maybe 20. And so I kind of pulled from there, but there were some that weren't in there yet. So it's been a grind to figure out these songs. But I'm very excited to get into it. I want you to
So
kick us off here first, set the tone.
yeah, and just to piggyback on off your conversation a little bit, some of most of these are pretty concrete for me. I think you could arguably get out the 5-4 or 4-5. I'm assuming we're doing them in order, or are we just still on five
I,
song?
I'm not doing order.
Yeah, okay.
No order for
That's
me.
a okay. Yeah, I'm also with that because order definitely could change, but I feel like three of these five are pretty concrete. But let's kick it off with one of those three. This is definitely a concrete one here. We got Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. What a fantastic,
Ooh.
like, this is one that never doesn't hit. Like, this is fucking just so good. It's a long ass song. If you listen to the actual version, not the radio version, and this one does it for me every single time. All right, shout out JT. And then this is one I feel like if I'm, if you're riding around the car, having like a little classics battle on Ox, and you throw this on, people are always rocking with this. So this is always a W with that. It's just like W song. So
Mirrors is crazy. Like, I don't know. That's very out of left field. I know you rock with it, but top five of all time. Shout out to JT. It's a great song. I'm not mad at it, but wow. And I didn't know what direction you were to go with your top five. I didn't even know what direction I was going to go with my top five. Was it going to be all rap? What songs mean the most to me? What's my top five? What's the criteria? I still haven't officially decided that, but shout out to JT. That's a wild pick. Um, I'll get into my first one here. Devil in a New Dress, Kanye West, featuring Rick Ross. Kanye was gonna have to make an appearance, and picking what Kanye song was one of the hardest decisions to make when crafting this list. I think my top three, you know, episode 100 was supposed to be the Kanye albums, so
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple top Kanye songs as a consolation because we'll get to the albums eventually. We did the Kanye bracket a while back, and I don't remember what song. I think Runaway won, but Runaway is kind of falling down a little bit. Like, it's in my top five still. It's definitely very, very up there. But I think like the three that were really, really in consideration today, Devil in a New Dress, Can't Tell Me Nothing, and I Wonder. Those are really the three that were like up there in consideration for today. And last night we kind of talked about this topic for the episode, and we were together hanging out. Shout out to Sugar Sean, shout out to Ezra, had to support. But on the way home from watching that, me and BG were in the car, and I was just going through a bunch of songs that were consideration. And this was one of them. And we were right at his house when it came on. And I was like, I mean, we have to ride around and finish listening to this, right? And that just stamped it that it had to be this one. I mean, the Smokey Robinson sample on this is so fire. I love it. You get Mike Dean with the guitar just all around the production of the song. One of the best. And obviously, people talk about the Rick Ross verse as one of the best guest features of all time, and it is absolutely up there. But the Kanye verses are so underrated. He comes through with some of the most underrated one-liners of his career. I mean, you order the jerk, she said you are what you eat. Hard to be humble. We starting on the jumbotron. Like, there are just so many one-liners on this song that stick out that are just like embedded in my head forever. And for that reason, it had to be in my top five.
Yeah. All really I'm gonna say, looking at my bitch, I bet she gave your ass a bone, like that
What a
is,
line.
yeah, just a phenomenal verse, all phenomenal song all the way around. I do really agree with, I Wonder and Can't Tell Me Nothing, along with, a couple others in there. I'm not gonna get too much into it, Family Business as well, and then Devil in a Dress, but the last one we'll say you may be hearing about it here in a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
Moving on here, for number four, for my second pick, I guess we're not doing this in order. This order was very loose there. That wasn't really a set in stone order. So you may hear me say it, but don't follow that. Uh, for my number four track, this is one where we both talked about, like, man, like this song has grown and grown and grown on the all time list. And I'm giving it its flowers. I think right now in my life, like you said, this is very subjective to the point where you are, my interest could change tomorrow. Dominic Fike, welcome Politics and Violence.
I knew you were
Holy
going.
shit. Yeah, like this is one where, I listened to it before we started the podcast. And then I can't remember its introduction to the podcast or how it made it on. But after that, that's just one where we both are just rocking with it so heavy. And you listen to this song and it's like, holy shit, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal track. Like, I just love this track so much. It's been I've listened to it, I mean, probably since it about came out. So for it to be still hitting the way it does, it needs some consideration as a top song of all time. So
What a pick. That absolutely crossed my mind. I don't know if it's cracked my top five, but it
it's
cracked
damn
the
close. Yeah.
point of consideration at
Yeah.
least. And that says something. I mean, I think when I was thinking about these songs, I was considering time. That was a big thing in deciding. And to be in my top five, I felt like I had to have a lot of time with it. And, for that reason, I didn't go with Politics of Violence, but I went with song even a little bit newer. And
Oh,
I'm gonna get into that one right now. But yeah, Politics of Violence, great song. Absolutely love the pick. The one newer song I went with, almost all these classic, and I'll throw this into the new era classic. My next song, we got Family Ties. Like,
yeah.
I had to have it. When I was just thinking about these songs and thinking about what song just makes me feel something, there are a few songs that make me feel what Family Ties does. And It makes me think about the podcast. It makes me
Yeah.
think about us. It makes me think about so many things. We are Kendrick and Keem. At the end of the day, that is us. We are Family Ties. Um, and so for that reason, like it just always stands out to me. Like I had to give it the love today.
Yeah, that's one that I mean could easily crack my list there. And I feel like I had to have some amount of time with the song. So I mean, Family Ties probably would have been like the cutoff. Politics and Violence maybe a year or so earlier.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is like one where I'm glad we have like two pretty modern picks, we'll call them. So we just gave y'all two modern classics on this list.
We had to. Like when I was thinking about Family Ties, I am 99% sure it's been in my Spotify Wrapped every year since it's come out. Like it's just one song that I am always listening to, and I love it every time. And so yeah, it felt right.
Yeah, W pick there, and I'm super glad we brought it in something from both brought in something from the 2020s. So
Yes, sir.
for my third pick here, we'll go Antidote. I had two
Ooh,
skeletons here as well, but we ultimately are landing on Antidote. Man, my introduction to Travis Scott all those years ago, 2015, listening to this with Jared and Anthony at like just on repeat, like every fucking song, every other song I'll say. I mean, we were about to play Oakwood, and yeah, we were that was my introduction. Didn't stop listening to it then. Um, and then seeing this live when he came out, Rolling Loud Miami, when he came back, his return, his uncancellation. This might be one of my favorite video clips that I have that I've taken. Which that's a W, by the way. But that's a different discussion. We got into that a little bit last night at the fight party, quote unquote.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I've really grown up with the song. Travis Scott has grown with this song as well. So I had to give him his flowers somewhere on here. And Antidotes, I feel like all of these songs, every time you listen to them, they got to hit the same. So, and this is one that does it for me.
I love that pick. And yeah, Travis Scott was definitely somebody that crossed my mind. I was considering 90210. I was considering Maria, I'm Drunk, a bunch of these songs, man. But
Mhm.
Travis Scott ultimately did not crack my list, but it was tough. That
Spoiler.
was what, spoiler alert. Yeah. When I was talking out loud with BG, talking about the list and just my thought process, like top five is insane. We did top five
Mhm.
artists. That was hard. Top five songs is even harder because I love so many songs, even by those five. But there might be a person that I only love one song by them, but I really love it.
Yeah.
So I was just naming, I rattled off, I think probably 12 to 15 names that, they're not all going to be on the list today. Travis Scott was a name that I don't even know if he got a mention in that 12 to 15, but he deserved to, and he crossed my mind. I'll move on to a song here. And it's funny because I didn't have this one in my mind. Like, this is going to be the audible pick.
Yeah.
It's The Weeknd. I had to have him on the list. And when I think about my favorite Weeknd song, that is one that changes so often. And that is just because of how many different things he's played around with his career from, the early House of Balloons era to the pop era. And I'm going with something in the middle. And I, have historically not been the biggest fan of this album. I like it, but it's
Oh.
towards the bottom of my weekend list as Beauty Behind the Madness. You know that. But the song, Tell Your Friends. Oh my God, what a song. It is just like 5.5 minutes of him just going. The beat, so good. There's like a random Drake remix too out there. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but that's one. But we're focused on the weekend right now. I mean, there's just so many good lines on this song, like talking about him kind of just becoming who he is today. He's got all these different lines talking about, his cousin tried to take a selfie at his grandma's funeral, like all these lines talking about how his life is changing and how, you know, he's becoming a star. And, we
Yeah.
get that star boy, he's just really that guy. And, I like a line like, don't believe the rumors, I'm still a user. Like, so many just small lines like that just, this is like really a transition song to me from what he was to what he is today. It does it so well. It's the intro on that project, and it does kind of set the tone for, him stepping into this next era of his career. Um, so many weekend songs cross my mind though. A sneaky one that I love that does not get the respect, and it was also picked, is Montreal. I don't know. Montreal, I feel like I'll say is a deep cut in the Weekend catalog, especially from like the early era. Like people love the early era, but Montreal, I never hear about Montreal. Granted, like 30% of the song is in French, but that is just so fire to me. Like obviously don't know what he's saying in French. I know what the translation is, and that makes it fire. On the track, he's basically saying, "Leave the girls alone, or one day it'll be you they leave," and that is like just such a fire. It's French. It does. He's not just saying that out loud. He's saying it a different way. I love it. So, very fire song there. But yeah, tell your friends. It's one that like it's very much core to like riding around in the car for me. Like I can just takes me back to just being in the car, especially like those drives between Houston and Bloomington, sunset. Oh, like that is
This is
just
the
where
one.
I'm at.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at with that song.
I respect it. Yeah, I mean, you throw up his name in here, so I guess I'll bring him in. We got Drake. The Canada boys. Gotta make an appearance next to each other. We got Look What You've Done. This is easily the one for Drake for me. This is not only my favorite song, it's his best song. I think it's very very difficult to top this. Peak Drake, and I mean, how old is this song now? 13 years old now, almost.
Yep.
Insane. Longevity, of course, it's another one. I'm gonna say it once again. Hits every single time. It's like '09 in your basement. I just love that starting
Fire.
line there. And then, I mean, he just continues to spit. Obviously, not really a super rap song, but has those elements there. And I mean, just another W track by Drake, of course.
Shout out to Drake. He was somebody that absolutely, again, crossed our minds so heavy. Obviously, he's somebody that's been very prevalent in my life. Did not make my list, spoiler alert, but he's another one where picking a song by him would be borderline impossible because he's done so many different things. He's had so many different periods of his career that, I found something to love in basically all of them that picking one is tough. Um, but it would likely have to be that Take Care era. So I love the pick there. My next pick here, I got The Art of Storytelling Part One, Outcast. What a song. I will say there is no better rap song than this, and there is no better rap verse than the Andre 3000 verse. There are things that are on the level, but there's nothing better. This is a 10 out of 10. This is perfection. I was listening to it again with Brennan last night riding around, and he was like, "Should I used to roll down Lewis Street with?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "I love that song too, but no, you gotta respect the OG version. You gotta respect Outkast. This to me is Outkast's best song. They had to have a mention here. It is just a beautiful song. The production obviously is great, so great that J. Cole used it as well and kind of put it onto a more modern audience, but it lives up to the name. It is storytelling at its finest. You get Big Boy talk about like a relationship with a girl a little bit, in a more promiscuous way, we'll say. And then you get Andre talking about, this girl, Sasha Thumper, and what do you want to be? And she says alive. And like that line in itself earns it a spot here. What do you want to be? She said alive. She made me think for a minute. I looked in her eyes. Like, oh my God, it is just such great the way he flows into all these lines, but he's storytelling the same way. I think that's something that some rappers, they get too caught up in the rhymes and the delivery. This walks that line so well of it is technically great, but it's also so poignant. Like it really just stands with you. It is a song that I urge everybody to listen to if they have not heard it. That's something I don't know. It's a great Outkast song. How many people have heard it, especially the younger listeners. Tap into this one. This is one of the ones you got to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too tapped in with it, but yeah, it's one, every time I listen to it, I really do enjoy it. So maybe I'll have like this newfound appreciation off this and really solidify it as, nothing being better in rap. So
Yeah, yeah. I want you to listen to it and let me know. But man, it's one of the ones for me. Like it's been one of, well, like from first listen, and I'll get into that in a minute with my next song. But from first listen, like I knew that this was like wow, like I was witnessing something. Like even being 14, 15, however old I was when it came out or when I heard it for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, this is
yeah,
crazy.
one of the ones.
Yeah.
moving on here, we got my last track, close out the five. Runaway, Kanye West. Hinted at earlier. This is one that I had to end it on. You know, the other ones, whatever, those are replaceable. They can move, whatever. This is has been solidified as my number one track for a long time. And it's just so fucking good. The whole entire version. I mean, I could just listen to that and be like, oh, you know, it just feels like it's only a few minutes of your life, but it's really like just beautiful music. Kanye verse, obviously phenomenal. Pusha T, I mean, the duo during this is
So
it's
far.
unbelievable. Yeah, they perfectly, I mean, come together on this and create my favorite track ever. So
I mean, it's very valid pick. It's absolutely up there for me as well. It wasn't the Kanye song I gave the nod today. Again, it could change. It kind of fell a little bit on my all-time Kanye favorites, but it is still absolutely up there. And like I would say that the Kanye's, if we're only going one per artist, the
yeah,
Kanye's, if he could have multiple, he would be standing above a couple others.
yeah.
But um, what a song. That Pusha T feature, underrated. The Rick Ross is the one that gets all the love on Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but Runaway absolutely is right there with it. Like those are two of the best features of all time, in my opinion. Like two very, very standout ones that I always go back to when I'm thinking about that topic. And what a song.
Just a great song. A lot of these are like hard to, I mean, give like a true thing on it just because they don't really need it. What's understood does not need to be explained. You know.
It's very valid. Um, okay, let's get into my last one here, and you're gonna throw a flag here. You're not gonna like this. I, of course, have an honorable mention. You know me.
Oh no,
No, no, no. Listen, come on. You gotta let me do my
no.
thing. Okay, let me do my thing. Number five today is Acid Rain by Chance the Rapper, but I'm not talking about today. Spoiler alert. Uh, I might be talking about it in April, so I don't want to talk about it today. It
It,
would be number
yeah,
five. It is number five,
that's just
but
this is cheating.
no, it's not.
This is definitely cheating.
No, it's just good promo. We're talking about it next album of the month, wink wink. So if you're listening today, you got that little free game. It is number five. If you want to hear my reason, stay tuned. The song I'm giving the love today, Prom King by Saba.
Ooh,
What a song. Um
ooh.
this is another one that I knew from like first listen it was special. I was blown away by this. I had listened to Saba before. He was featured on Coloring Book. He was featured on earlier Chance work. I knew Saba was that guy. I liked Bucket List Project, but when Care for Me dropped and I heard this track, I was like, yeah, this is like the one. I mean, it is 7 minutes of him just going into full storytelling mode, talking about his relationship with his cousin. They kind of got close, and then he tragically passed away. And it's kind of the full journey of that, the start of Saba's music career in a lot of ways. Just a beautiful song, such a personal track. Another one. I don't know how many people know this one. I think
This is
I would
yeah.
think a
Uh,
lot do, but I don't know.
this is one where I don't think a lot of people do. Like this could be putting a lot of people on because um I can't remember, maybe it was some music page I followed, they had this I listed on there. It still really wasn't getting love by the followers there or anything. So this is one, yeah, it's a weird one to gauge. I don't know how big this track is, but it should be huge.
It should be. It is crazy. And I'll kind of go back to what I said about, you knew from first listen. I was thinking of my comparison, and we were talking about this again last night when we were together. We were just talking about favorite movies, and I think Moonlight is my favorite movie of all time. I've only seen it one time, and it's one of those things where it's like I just have it up to the highest standard, and I'm sure revisiting it, I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be just as good, if not better, because I am just fully immersed in it and I know kind of where things are going. But that's how I feel about this song. I probably listened to it the least out of my top five because I like cherish it so
Yeah.
much. Like it is like held on the highest pedestal that, I'll revisit it
Well, I know what I'm playing when I
probably
pick you up every time.
right. I revisit it probably you know, once a month, I'll say. But it's not like an everyday song. Some of these other songs, Family Ties, I said that makes my Spotify Wrapped every year. I listen to it minimum once every 5 days, probably. Whereas this, it is like a once a month song, but it's like, wow, like I just cherish it and enjoy it so much for those 7 minutes when I do listen to it. But this is one we talked about it. You know, how much do people know it? If you have not heard it,
Yeah,
you need
this
to.
is the time.
Uh, I hope you guys took something away from a couple of these picks, but this is one of the ones you got to hear.
Yeah, this is 100%. I hope you guys know every track on here. Politics and Violence may not know it as well. I mean, we talk about it enough on the pod. I hope you listened by now. But I mean, hopefully, we're putting you guys onto some tracks here as well.
Yes, sir. And apologies for the, little 6 songs, whatever. I had to do my thing. You know me.
Yeah,
Uh,
sick.
got the love for Saba, but he would be knocked out. So officially, it is
Okay,
as
yeah, okay, so he's not on the list then.
he's on the list today. He had to be today because we're
But
talking about the song in the
he's not
future.
even
So
on the list. He's not even on the list now.
Saba got the love today. That's all that matters. We're putting the people on with Saba, so that's all I'm saying. If you want to hear about Acid Rain, come back in April. But yeah, this was impossible. There are so many songs that I want to give love to. I'm not going to mention any others because I know you'll feel a way about that. So I'll leave it to my five in parentheses six. And we'll live with that. But there's so many. I would love to hear what people have to say about their top five. This is something that requires a little bit of thought. So I want people to leave a comment. We don't always get that many comments, but I want a comment today. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment and let us know what your top five songs of all time are, because it's an impossible list to think about. And everybody
Yeah,
has their own preferences, everybody has their own experiences. I would love to see just a variety from other people.
yeah, and I mean that's always like the heavy emphasis on like the favorite versus best. Like there, I mean, you can't say someone's list is best. It's the personal preference there. So I always love to see those to see what people are feeling, all that stuff. So
For sure.
versus if someone's dropping their best songs ever, I'm nitpicking there. So
Yeah, best is a very hard thing to say. Favorite, subjective, it is what it is. You live with that. My random story I want to say about that is I've been meaning to say this one on the pod for so long, and it just like is one that has not come up at the right time. And it's truly like something I totally forgot about until one day, just randomly, a couple months ago. It was one night after the bars at ISU. I was at one of my friends' place. We were hanging out, a bunch of people still, like, a little post game, whatever. And I was talking to this guy. You know me, I'll get in the music combos. And I I don't even think I brought it up in this scenario. I think this guy asked me who my top five favorite rappers of all time, or sorry, not favorite, best, who the top five
uh,
best rappers of all time. See, the subjective versus objective, a very hard thing to do. But this man, I don't remember any of his others. It's gonna take a lot for me to say this. He said, you would never guess this person in a million years. He said this person was a top five best rapper of all time. DJ Khaled. I said,
huh?
well, he's not really he's a producer. He said, no, he rapper. And I
I
had to
walked away.
leave. I had
Yeah,
to leave. Like
it's the end of the combo.
that was truly one of the most just outlandish things I've ever heard to my
Mhm.
own face. Like, I just want you guys to sit with that. Like,
That was
oh,
probably Tyler the Creator Ewar era. Fucking. So you were probably done.
it was. I don't remember who my top five. I'm sure I threw out Andre, I threw out Doom. I threw out these people. He's coming with DJ Khaled as a
DJ
rapper. Yeah,
Khaled.
that man has said a total of like 12 different words in his
We the
entire career.
best music.
See?
All right. Well, I think that's a good closing to the episode. Let's just outro here.
Yeah, I just want to leave you guys with that little anecdote for when you
Yeah,
consider
you didn't need our
objective
thoughts.
versus
Yeah,
subjective. Yeah.
you don't need our thoughts on that. Just sit and think with that one, guys.
Yeah. Think about that. Do you consider DJ Khaled a rapper? Maybe we'll have to put that on a story one day. We'll find out. I hope you guys say no, but it's been real. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed our list. Hope we found something new to listen to, or a new way to appreciate one of these songs, something to revisit. I'd love to see your list. So comment, DM us. We'll probably post on Instagram. So comment on that. We want to see your 5. So let us know. It's been so real. We will be back next week with a bracket. We'll do 2 brackets for the rest of March. It just did not feel right for episode 100. We had to come right with something real heartfelt, sentimental, special. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next Monday.
See you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.